And we are back, and it is Thursday. It is 7:35, and that can only mean that the Car Pro's on line one. Good morning, Jerry Reynolds.
Good morning, fellas. How's everybody?
Well, we're not doing as well as you are because I'm not driving a fancy new Audi. I'm going to tell you what, Jerry, that's a pretty darn good-looking car. I owned an Audi back in the 70s, I guess, and it was a pretty austere automobile. Not a lot of bells and whistles.
Yeah, that's all changed.
This looks like it is. Doesn't resemble the one I owned.
No, and Audi's really up the game when it comes to luxury vehicles. But the one thing I love about the thing that Audi does is, they start with a basic A3, which is a car that's pretty affordable to most everybody, and they go all the way up to the A8, and they add in a lot of SUVs in between. They've really made a mark with their styling and their interiors. I had an A8 myself a few years ago, and I bought it strictly because of the interior. I just thought it was fantastic.
So let me ask you this: I think used to because I know that Audi bought out Volkswagen or vice versa. Is the A3 essentially just a upgrade of like a Jetta?
Yeah, pretty much. With the engines are different, the interior is much different. A3 is a small luxury car. I mean, with America making this move to SUVs like crazy over the past couple of years, I've watched Audi sales wondering, hey, can these guys survive? And they've done enough with their SUVs to make it work. And then the cars are still doing pretty well. I mean, luxury car sales in America still are pretty good and have been, even with this SUV craze. This car...
I mean, a luxury car will cost you less than an SUV if that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely. No question about it. And there's still people out there who, and I got to tell you, I'm one of them, who says, you know what, I would rather have a large rear-wheel drive, good driving, riding sedan with some power under the hood than I would an SUV. And so this car was so interesting to me because it is very large. I don't think the pictures I sent you guys really do it justice on the size, but it's a hatchback. So when you pop the hatch in the back, you've got this massive amount of room back there. Not like a trunk, but just a huge area. And then you can fold the rear seats down if you really need some room. And you've almost got an SUV.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny is you can't tell by looking that it is a hatchback. I can kind of see where where I guess the lines are, but if it just drove by you would think it was a normal car.
Yeah, you would. You'd think it was just a sporty looking with a real swooping roofline car, which is out there, which there is a lot of those. I mean, Mercedes.
I've always been a fan of fastbacks, especially like the old Mustangs.
Oh yeah, and this one's got plenty of power yet. 29 miles to the gallon out on the highway, which I thought was fantastic for a car this size.
Jerry, what kind of dollars are we talking about for this car?
Sticker price is $85,000.
Whoa! Well, you can buy a lot of SUVs for that.
You can, if that's what you want. Now, there's a lot of discounting goes on with the luxury cars these days, and that's just. You and I have been talking for a while now about how I've seen all the auto manufacturers raising their window sticker prices to be able to offer rebates. And this is a car that falls right into that. Audi doesn't get on your TV and scream, hey, we've got, $4,000 rebates. They give the money to the dealers to use it to help sell the cars. And so you got to do a little shopping around these days with luxury cars because most of the time, the actual incentives are not stated.
Isn't that more like old school if you're going to give the money to the dealers and say, make some deals? I mean, isn't that how they used to kind of do that with all the cars?
Yeah, they did until, everything got so incentive crazy. I remember the first rebates that ever came out on a car. Lee Iacocca introduced them in 1975, and they did a 5% cash rebate, which at that time on their cars was a couple of $100, And America went nuts. I mean, they doubled their business overnight. And that started it, and here we are today where now it's expected. Everybody thinks there's huge incentives on every car, and frankly, there probably is on the majority of them, unless it's, a really hot seller that hits the market like the new Kia Telluride or the Hyundai Palisades, which the dealers can't keep on the lot. Other than that, and let me tell you, eventually those will have it too.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jerry, I heard some of your show here on KFYO last Saturday. What are you going to be talking about? Well, I found it interesting, but what are you going to be talking about this week?
Well, we're going to, we're at that end of the month, last weekend of the month time for October. And, some people think that's just hype, but the truth is dealers really do turn it on the last week of a month because they've got numbers to hit. So much of the income dealers make today is derived from the manufacturer setting an objective. And if they hit their objective by the end of the month, then they get varying amounts of money going all the way back to the very first car. So if you're a dealer and you've been selling cars all month long and you get toward the last week of the month and you're not on track to hit your objective, but yet you've been selling cars all month long using that money, it puts you in a panic.
Yeah.
And so deals get so much better. I mean, dealers start thinking about just volume. And anytime dealers are thinking volume, that's exactly what you want them to think if you're a consumer, because they'll do whatever it takes on your trade-in if you have one. They'll make sure they get you the best interest rate. Price is out the window. They just got to sell cars.
Yeah.
And so we'll be talking about that here in Dallas-Fort Worth Saturday. We've got the first local reveal of the new 2020 Corvette happening, and so people will be able to look at that.
Getting your hands on it?
Yeah. You won't be able to drive it, but you can sit in it.
Oh, I just meant if you were going to get your hands on it after they were done.
I don't know. I have obviously made that request.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make that happen, but I haven't got a confirmation yet. I will have somebody there filming the event, and we'll be putting it on Facebook Live.
Okay, well, Jerry, we do again want to remind everyone that your Car Pro show is on live here on KFYO every Saturday from 11 to 1, and remind people to go to carprousa.com, right?
Yep.
Yes.
But before I know we're running out of time, but before you leave, there was a story on carprousa.com that I wanted to just kind of a public service announcement. You've got a story about how fall brings a higher risk of animal car collisions.
It's huge between October and the end of December, and I put it out there so people would be thinking about it. In our part of the country, deer is the biggest risk, but in other parts of the country, there are a lot of different risks.
And some of them bigger than others.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. And go ahead.
Jerry, we did a story here a few months ago. It was astounded me. It said that in America, in a year, there are 60,000 deer car collisions.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, the total
that's unbelievable.
The total animal car collision rates last year was 1.9 million in the United States, and that's a State Farm survey. And one of the things that I've always said on the air for so many years is, if you're going to hit a deer, people have a tendency to slam the brakes on. But if you know for sure you're going to hit that animal anyway, it's better to accelerate,
plow through it.
That way the animal goes over the roof instead of through your windshield,
Wow.
which is where most people get hurt.
Well, that's good to know. Jerry, again, looking forward to your Saturday show here on KFYO, and as always, interesting this morning. Thank you for calling.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Jerry.